Lisa, thanks for joining us today. Ceridian is a really big global company. You've been there for 15 years and you've navigated your way to being a very senior executive. What advice would you share for young people looking to build a similar career?
So first of all, I can't believe I've been anywhere for 15, almost 16 years now. It just seems crazy. It's interesting. It's an interesting question because we are asking ourselves that right now. How do we help not just young people who are entering our organization, but people who are already employees navigate and explore their career? And we're really thinking about it from the terms of exploration. Historically we used to say to people, you find your path, figure out exactly where you want to go. And that's not really how it works so much anymore. And in an organization like ours, we're trying to create this sense of exploration. For me, navigating, exploring my career was really about the people that I met. So for better or worse, I didn't have a clear set path of where I wanted to go. And in fact, my path is all over the place.
Which is really common,
right?
Your experience was not unique, so I'm sure a lot of people are interested in how did you find that path?
Yeah, well, and it's funny because I was just talking to my boss about this and we were saying, people talk about the career path. Well, my path is a broken road. It's jagged, it goes all over the place. And that was her experience and that was so many people's experience. And for me, it was very much about the people that I met. So I always brought a passion and an energy and I was pretty clear about what I loved to do. And I think reasonably aware of what I was good at, what my strengths were. So with that, I talked to people. I would go to someone and say, I love what you're doing. How did you get to do this? How did you get to be here? How could I get to be there? What should I do? And I really offered myself up to folks like that to say, look, if there's a project, if there's an opportunity for me to shadow, what could I do? And so very much that is how my path went forward, or my broken road. I had one person in particular who I would say has sponsored me. We never called it that formally, but she was for me and continues to be in many ways a sponsor and a mentor. And what she did for me, similarly, I would sit in front of her and say, this is what I love doing. I'm so passionate about, for me, it's been about training people and empowering people. How can I do more of that? And she said, you know what? All right, I'm going to put you out there. Let me introduce you to folks. I'm going to volunteer you for this particular project. Off you go. And it really was her opening those doors, pushing and nudging me to try different things that advanced me really to where I am now. But there were a lot of people in my career who did that.
Well, and it took you actually identifying what you loved and what you wanted to pursue, and then allowed that mentor, sponsor to open up those doors for you. You ended up leading the People Academy at Ceridian.
Yeah.
What's the mission of the People Academy, and what are the practices in HR that tie into it?
So our mission is pretty broad. Our primary focus is on maximizing the talent we have within our organization. And we do that in a number of different ways. So I have the great pleasure and honor of working with our entire leadership organization, really helping them grow their strengths and understand how to grow the strengths of those who work for them. We work with our employee population as well, again, on how do we maximize their talent, how do we get them connected to what they love and are passionate about. And then as part of my portfolio, I also am so lucky that I get to work in the area of diversity and inclusion. And so our mission there is to create a culture where everyone who works at Ceridian feels like they get to show up at a place where they feel comfortable and they belong.
Getting everyone's perspective on the table is a challenge that, whether it's small business or big business, startup environments or mature businesses, this is a big challenge. What would be the advice you would give to people trying to bring all those perspectives to the table?
Well, I think you have to set reasonable expectations. So can you right away bring all those perspectives? Maybe not. And it kind of depends on where you start. If you're starting from scratch, I think that you're in an amazing position, right? Because you get to dictate or mandate how you want it to go. I think, awareness is the first thing. You got to think about what are the perspectives that we want to represent. Who do we serve? What's our client base? Who's our clientele? Because you want your organization to reflect the people that you're serving. Then I do think, I think things don't happen by accident. They're not just going to happen because you want them to. You do actually have to put some policies, maybe that's not the right word, guidelines, practices in place. And that can be everything from the kinds of ads you create. I mean, it's amazing. There's some very interesting research now looking at the language that you use in the ads that you use for hiring. The images that you use for hiring, thinking about those. What are your interview practices? Do you have one person who says, yeah, I like you, you remind me of me, you're in? Or do you have, a more structured, guided interview process? Those are just some of the things. And again, there's tons of research. You don't have to think, create it yourself. Lots of information out there. But I think you just have to go in thinking, I want to do this, and I'm committed to doing what I need to do. I'm not just going to hope that it happens. You've got to be purposeful about it.